Hey kids, welcome to Book Snub, a podcast about books. Only bad books, though. We read them and make fun of them because we have no lives. Just kidding, I have a life. I just choose to do this. Hey kids, this is Book Snub. I'm Clara.
I'm Sweet Potato.
I'm Rachel. But they're
What
gonna
did
call
we
me
do?
Jazz. No, they're gonna call me Jazz anyway, actually.
Which is not my name, but also is my name. Take that, government.
We can't have political tirades on the Book Snub.
Thanks, Obama.
It's almost Halloween.
This week is the spooky special. Halloween special.
Halloween's coming up.
It's exactly a week
Oh,
before.
liars, because we are recording this not at that time.
I thought everybody recorded their podcast on the exact day of Halloween.
They actually record like a year's worth of podcasts every Halloween.
Every Halloween. Okay, well, this is the pre-Halloween special, and enjoy this one because we're not reading a werewolf romance novel.
Yeah.
We're reading our good friend, Edgar Allan Poe. You know, he wrote some creepy stories, but some stories I just don't understand what he was really
Going for.
going for, you know? And I feel like these stories don't get as much
Going for.
you know? And I feel like these stories don't get as much airtime in the, like, general consciousness, public consciousness. I just wrote an ethics essay about conscience, so that's where that brain space is. Yeah, so we just thought we would Book Snub. We make fun of books. Please don't sue us. Please don't harass the authors. We're not going to
Don't harass Poe's grave.
Don't vandalize Poe's grave.
Anyway, so this week we're reading two Poe stories. The first one we will be talking about is The Angel of the Odd, which was published in 1844. At the story on my cellular device that says by Edgar Allan Poe, published 1844.
Oh, I have a Kindle Edgar Allan Poe complete tale, so this is just like one of the billions. It doesn't say.
Isn't that 99 cents?
I think it's free.
Oh, I mean, I've had it for like a billion years, so I don't know.
Okay.
I've had it for like a billion years, so I don't know.
Okay.
Quick disclaimer, warning-ish thing. The Angel of the Odd is not too bad. There's like a lot of alcohol, but the Black Cat is a little darker, gory. There's like murder, abuse, and a lot of other stuff. So yeah, that's a warning.
So, a short summary of The Angel and the Odd. The summary can be summed up as alcohol, the story. This is what would result if I just like to drink Four Loko and Everclear mixed together every day. Yeah.
Isn't that every Poe story is
It
alcohol?
sure is.
Isn't that every Poe story is
It
alcohol
sure
the
is.
story?
It sure is.
I don't know what you're talking about. All of Poe's narrators are very reliable.
They have never imbibed not one day in their life.
Not a day. They don't even know what an alcohol is. Never smoked. Not a day. They don't even know what an alcohol is. Never smoked an alcohol.
Poe's narrators have never met an alcohol.
Shonda Hahn has met an alcohol. So yeah, give a real summary, Jazz.
He's just basically like, he reads the news and he's like, that didn't fucking happen. And then the German alcohol monster shows up and he's like, it did too. I made it happen. And he's like, okay. And then he takes a nap. And then his life gets ruined and some wacky stuff happens.
It turns into like a wacky cartoon adventure that I am not sure how.
Also, the story
it's
starts
Halloween.
out with IT, like, capitalized, so Poe predicted the future. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually Pennywise.
Pennywise.
The Angel of the Odd.
I love the part in it where it turns out Pennywise was an alcohol monster the whole time.
Why do we keep referencing it?
Because I saw it recently, so it's sort of on the mind.
So yeah, basically he's sitting around and he's just reading, like, the news.
He had just consummated an unusually hearty dinner, so...
And he had indigestion.
Of which the dice... What is that? Dinner, so...
And he had indigestion.
Of which the dice... What is that?
Oh, you gotta click on it. You gotta click on it. Indigestion or ill humor.
Oh, okay, so he gets indigestion.
Yeah, I had to look up a few words.
Where did y'all read this at? Because I'm reading it on Post Stories, and they have these words highlighted as vocabulary. And you could just click on them.
I'm reading it on my Kindle. That's things on my Kindle and find the definition.
Sagacious is, like, his favorite word.
Love it.
Yeah, so he ate this huge dinner on a chilly November afternoon, and he was just sitting on his sort of chair with, like, a small table, upon which were some apologies for dessert. What?
He mentions that in the morning he read, like, I'm looking these up. These aren't short poems. These are really fucking long. And he's like, oh, no big. I just read 6 of them.
It's really funny because he, like, lists all of these epic poems, and then he's like, I am willing to confess, therefore, that I now felt a little stupid.
Me.
Felt a little stupid.
Me.
Same.
Oh my god. So then he just is like, I'm tired of reading these epic poems, so let me just go ahead and read
the newspaper.
But then he, like, doesn't understand a word he reads, which is also same. And he, like, thinks that it's in Chinese since he does not understand it.
He doesn't seem to have a very good idea about what Chinese is. You wouldn't be mistaking it for that.
So yeah, then he reads this terrible story.
The avenues to death are numerous and strange. A London paper mentions the decease of a person from a single which is played with a long needle inserted in some worsted and blown at a target.
He swallowed a blow dart.
Yeah, a blow dart. Blown at a target through a tin tube. He placed the needle at the wrong end of the tube, and drawing his breath strongly to puff the dart forward with force, drew the needle into his throat. It entered the lungs, and in a few days killed him. His throat. It entered the lungs, and in a few days killed him.
Is that how biology
works?
That's
how that works. No, I think that's how that works. If you were to suck a needle in, like, through a tube, it would just enter your lung with nothing in between.
Oh, yeah.
And so the narrator gets, like, real pissed. He says, that's not how biology works. The narrator gets, like, real pissed. He says, that's not how biology works.
It's so funny because he's like, upon seeing this, I fell into a great rage without knowing exactly why. And it's like, me.
How do you not know why?
It says he exclaimed. He's like talking about this out loud, but then later, he out loud.
I mean, he did say he had a bunch of liquor around him when he was sitting at that table. Some miscellaneous bottles of wine, spirits, and liqueur.
Yeah, he's having a good day. Yeah, so he gets really mad because he thinks that this was a falsehood, and then he kind of monologues about it for a while, and then he's like, this is fake, I hate this.
The German
then,
liquor monster. He hears a voice that's, like, literally incomprehensible. If you, like, look this up and look at it, there's, like, It takes, like, 2 hours to read this story just because of this one person talking. It's, like, 2 hours to read this story just because of this one person talking in this incomprehensible, like, written-out accent thing.
Dear Sweet Poe, he decided to write out a German accent, and it's something. It sure is something.
Like, we thought Shandahan was bad last time with that phonetic accent. This is like 10,000 times worse. This is like...
Apparently, it's not supposed to be a real accent. So, like, I don't know why he opened with German if it's not supposed to be followed by a German accent. But Poe just wrote this because he hates his readers.
It's like, Mein Gott, den Wetter.
God.
I can't.
Mein Gott.
You beast.
So he's like, the main character guy is like, I don't believe that this is true. And then, mein Gott, den. I don't believe that this is true. And then, mein Gott, den. What you beast for that? Replied one of the most remarkable voices.
Wait, later. You must be so drunk as the pig, then for not see me as I.
Nobody talks like this.
You need to
Nobody talks like this.
You need to I don't feel like your performance is very believable.
Also, when they describe what he looks like, he's literally just made out of things that booze comes in. My favorite line in this whole story is, in its nether extreme, it's supposed to be at kegs as legs. He's like, keg leg, but it sounds like he has 2 kegs shoved up his ass.
I don't understand. They basically say his body looks like a wine bottle or a rum bottle.
A rum punchin'.
Yeah, he's a rum bottle, his legs are kegs, and his arms are more bottles.
A rum punchin' is a large cask of varying capacity, so he's basically just shifting forms at this point. He just, turns into different, large size rum bottles.
With 2 tolerably long bottles for arms.
His face is like a canteen with a funnel on top, and the whole canteen with a funnel on top, and the hole is his mouth, and that's where he says
his mouth
words.
is like that of a very precise old maid.
It is puckered up like the mouth of a very precise old maid.
So yeah, he continues to repeat what he said about how you must be. I can't. I'm not doing this accent anymore. But yeah, the narrator's just like, who are you?
For sit there and not see me, sit here. And I say, do you must be bigger. Oh, is that what bigger fool as the wool as the goose? For to disbelieve what is print in the print.
Why do you keep trying this accent?
I'm trying because I want the listeners to understand what it feels like to read this.
So yeah, the narrator's just like, who are you, my...
Understand what it feels like to read this?
So yeah, the narrator's just like, who are you, my guy? How did you get here? What are you talking about? I have no idea what the man replies to him because I can't read that.
He's like, none your business.
As for how I come here, that is none of your business. And as for what I be talking about, I be talk about what I think proper.
So yeah, the narrator's like, you're a drunk, my guy.
And he's like, I'm gonna have my footman kick you in the street, because if he wanted him to, get slapped, he'd get his handman. And then the guy says, hee, hoo, hoo, hoo.
I like that the laugh, it has a separate exclamation point for every, he, so it's like,
les poissons, hee, 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 ha, ha, ha.
So yeah, he tries to, fight the drunk German man, but, things happen. Oh yeah, the drunk German man kicks him.
He just, taps him with his bottle arm.
So he just, the main character is like, I'm gonna, call my footman, and then the, alcohol monster's just bonk. And this happens, several times, and the guy, will try and move again, and he's like, bonk. And the guy, will try and move again, and he's like, bonk.
Anyway, so the guy is basically like, I am the angel of the odd, kind of just out of nowhere, really, but okay. And then the narrator is just like, you are odd, but I was always under the impression that an angel has his wings or whatever.
He didn't have enough Red Bull. Gotta ring the bell. But then he got bonked.
Oh, shit. Oh my gosh, Poe's really just out here predicting it all. He didn't ring the bell, and so the drunken alcohol monster angel doesn't have his wings.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. I figured it out. We don't need to read the rest of this.
And then, it says, my business ejaculated the thing.
Don't ever read that again.
Read what?
I hate this story. Does he call him a puppy?
Why, what a low-bred puppy. You must be for to ask a gentleman and an angel about his business.
Also, this is the most relatable line. This language was rather more than I could bear. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot bear it since the beginning. So yeah, the narrator guy just basically, I guess, tries to, they just scrapping like this whole time. They just scrapping like this whole time while he's talking. He like throws a salt shaker at his head or something, and then the guy dodges it, and then they do some fight choreography, and then the angel says, mean.
The salt shaker breaks his claw.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he throws the salt shaker, and then it like...
1844.
And then the angel hits him, and the guy starts crying.
He does not.
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does.
Start crying.
He says, these reduce me at once to submission, and I am almost ashamed to confess that either through pain or vexation there came a few tears to my eyes. He cries. And then the angel is like sad because he made him cry. And is like, don't drink your wine so strong.
Whenever they mention that the angel gets up, I'm reminded that the angel was sitting, and I'm just trying to imagine these keg legs in a sitting position. The angel was sitting, and I'm just trying to imagine these keg legs in a sitting position and like getting up from that.
Stop it.
It's kind of upsetting.
It's very upsetting. So the angel's basically like, you water down your wine, let me introduce you to this good stuff that's called Kirschenschwasser.
Something
German
water.
people watching this are going to be offended. Like, why? Oh wait, it's a cherry brandy manufactured cheaply in the Black Forest in Germany.
So he's like, you need to sober up, have some brandy.
So yeah, basically he's like, oh, that was really kind. So now he's happy even though the angel just like beat his ass. Like, not.
Feels like, alright, gotta go. And he says something in French, which is beaucoup de bonheur et un peu plus de bon sens.
I'm kicking Jazz right off this podcast for speaking French to me.
No, fuck. I just want to say, he doesn't have a weird fucking accent in French. He says that fine. He literally says French fine. There's none of that bullshit. Can you imagine trying to read French and whatever the fuck that spelled out accent is?
I hate this angel so much.
Oh, but before he leaves, he's like, he says that he's the one who like made all the odd accidents that the guy was like skeptical about. He makes all of those happen, and then the guy just sits there eating raisins, and thinks that the guy eating raisins was a sign of contempt. So then he decides to leave. And then he says some French, and then the guy is like, "Ah, great, he's gone. I can take a nap."
Yeah.
Same.
And he was like, I'm gonna take like a 15-20 minute nap. And he was like, I'm gonna take like a 15-20 minute nap, which is fucking weak. And I have to say, what he says is, I have to go meet someone to talk about my insurance for my house in half an hour, but I have time for a little nappy too. And this is how long it takes him to say that. At 6, I say that. At 6, I had an appointment of consequence, which it was quite indispensable that I should keep. The policy of insurance for my dwelling house had expired the day before, and, some dispute having arisen, it was agreed that, at 6, I should meet the board of directors of the company in watch. I had the pleasure to find that I still had 25 minutes to spare. It was 5:30. I could easily walk to the insurance office in 5 minutes, and my usual siesta had never been known to exceed 25. I felt sufficiently safe, therefore, and composed myself to my slumbers forthwith. That's so
I'm gonna take a nap before I go to the insurance office.
He didn't have to
He could
say
have
that.
like composed that so much better.
Composed that.
So yeah, he basically sleeps, wakes up, and finds out he missed that whole appointment, which is relatable.
Yeah, he thinks that his nap was 15. Yeah, he thinks that his nap was 15 minutes and it was actually 2 hours because he broke the clock earlier.
Good job.
So
He woke up from his first nap, and he's like, oh, I've only been napping like 3 minutes, but I feel pretty good. That was a pretty good nap. And he's like, but I have more time by nap, which is relatable.
me every day.
So yeah, basically after that he's just like, well, better go back to sleep. So he falls back asleep and begins to have some great dreams about the angel.
Yeah, he goes to sleep leaving his candle burning.
Some more of that cherry brandy shows up, which probably explains everything.
Up and pouring brandy down his throat. And it was insufferable. His agony was at length insufferable. And then he wakes up and he finds out that a rat ran off with the candle, and took it into the house, and now his house is on fire.
He was reading before he fell asleep and had a candle with...
And now his house is on fire.
He was reading before he fell asleep and had a candle with a fire on it and was just like, okay, I'll just sleep and leave this on. That's a good idea.
Well, it says that he falls asleep in like 20 seconds.
I wish.
Like, he just starts reading, and then, and it's like, I fortunately fell asleep in less than 20 seconds. So he's just like, I think I'll read.
Did he count?
He counted out those 20 seconds while also reading.
20 sheep.
So anyway, basically his house burns down, and then he laments on the fact that since he didn't go to his insurance salesman, he doesn't have any insurance.
But his hair.
His house burns down, and a crowd comes outside the window and procures a ladder, and then he's descending the ladder when a huge hog, about whose rotund stomach and indeed about whose whole errand I'm not going to read that word. There was something of the odd. Okay, so when this hog, which hitherto had been quietly slumbering in the mud, took it suddenly into his head that his left shoulder needed scratching, and could find no more convenient rubbing post than that afforded by the foot of the ladder. And then he falls off the ladder.
So it just rubs against the ladder.
So he's climbing down a burning house, and a pig comes out of the mud and breaks the ladder, and then he falls off and breaks his arm. I'm just kind of confused. I'm confused about the hog.
The hog? He just showed up and shoved the ladder.
Why was there a hog?
It's kind of implied that it was the Angel of the Odd.
It's implied that it was the Angel of the Odd, but also he doesn't seem to be very, surprised about the fact that there's a hog that just, shows up and is like, hey.
Also, this crowd of people, set up this ladder and then just let this hog knock it down.
Yeah. And then, so then he's upset about losing his insurance and his hair. So he's like, oh, this sucks. I think I need a wife.
Logical conclusion.
He sets his eyes on a widow who just lost her 7th husband, which is not a good target.
Oh, she is murdering them. So then...
Target?
Oh, she is murdering them. So then she's like... He courts this widow, I guess, and then he's kneeling at her feet, and she leans down, and her hair gets caught in his wig, and when she stands up, she has pulled his wig off with her hair, and now he's bald again.
This is such a good story.
And then he's like, that
doesn't pull my wig off and snatch me at the root.
And he was gonna meet up with his wife, and he's hastening to greet her with one of his best considered bows. He has a variety of bows. And then a small particle of some foreign matter lodged itself in the corner of his eye, and made him blind for a while. So she walked by him, and he just ignored her, and she's like, oh, he's ignoring me. But, okay, first of all, wouldn't you be like, oh, there's something in my eye, and going for your eye, and, you wouldn't walk by someone and be like, oh, this person who's, clutching at their eyeball is ignoring me. And also, just, I like how he says, it made me blind for a while. Not I had to close my eyes. I was blind. So fake, I would have said hi, but I was, blind for a little while.
Me, when I walk by someone I don't like, I'm like, oh, sorry,
I was blind.
I was blind. Sorry, I didn't open your Snapchat. I just turned blind for a minute.
So yeah, then the angel shows up.
He's like, Pop, fixed your eye.
Yeah, he shows up and fixes the eye. And then, here's my favorite line in this whole book.
Yes.
I now considered it high time to die.
That's my thoughts when reading this.
Relatable.
And accordingly made my way to the nearest river.
Relatable.
And accordingly made my way to the nearest river.
Oh, I love this. Hold on, wait. So he's gonna go drown himself, but this bird takes some of his clothes, and he's like, hang on, I need that.
Yeah, so he takes off his clothes to go jump in the river. Crow,
Who ate some alcoholic
takes
corn.
his clothes and he's like, actually, I need those. So he gets out of the river and goes to chase the crow. I'm like, I thought you wanted to die. If you died, would it matter if the crow had your clothes? So then he's like, the crow flies away with his pants.
He put coat.
He slips his nether extremities into his coat. And then I betook myself to a pursuit of the felon, with all the nimbleness with which the case required. So he's like running at full speed with my nose required. So he's like running at full speed with my nose up in the atmosphere and intent only upon the purlorna of my property. And then I suddenly perceived that my feet rested no longer upon terra firma, and the fact is, I had thrown myself over a precipice.
Good job.
So he's running after the crow, and he runs off a cliff.
That's what you get for running with your nose up in the air.
So he did like the Looney Tunes thing where he ran off a cliff and then looks down.
Yeah, and he's like still running, and then he looks down, and he's like,
Wile E. Coyote.
I can't believe Edgar Allan Poe invented Wile E. Coyote.
Edgar Allan Poe invented Looney Tunes with this story.
Definitely.
So he had thrown himself over a precipice, and he should have fallen to death, but there was a balloon passing by, and he catches the rope. Dangling off of it.
Nimble.
Parkour.
Hardcore parkour.
Oh,
And then the angel shows up again, and I spent like 20 minutes looking at this word in this sentence, and I still don't know what it says. And it's und what der Teufel you p do dare. What the fuck?
Und
What?
what?
Und what der Teufel you do dare?
He asked him, who are you?
Teufel.
And I'm trying. Oh yeah, he ejaculates again. Wait, I didn't want to say that. I should start reading the story at the same time.
Yeah, so he's like dangling off the edge off this rope, and then he looks up, and the angel is in the balloon, and he's like, help! And the angel's like,
That cherry brandy shows up yet again. This is some real product placement.
he drops the bottle of brandy precisely upon his head.
This Kirschenwasser paid Edgar Allan Poe.
Kids, if you want to get 20% off Kirschenwasser, use code BOOKSNUB.
Oh yeah, I think it's time for us to head to the ad break.
Amontillado.
Kirschenwasser. You can go to Kirschenwasser.com to get 20% off your first order by clicking the microphone in the corner and typing in the code BOOKSNUB. That's BOOKSNUB, no space.
One word.
It's BOOKSNUB.
BOOKSNUB, one word.
It's BOOKSNUB.
BOOKSNUB, one word. BOOKSNUB. BOOKSNUB. Again, Kirschenwasser.com.
Shut up!
Code BOOKSNUB.
The German alcohol monster says some more words. Is he still hanging from the balloon this whole time? The alcohol monster says some more words. Is he still hanging from the balloon this whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hanging from the balloon, and the guy, like, the angel is talking to him. And then the angel is like, do you believe now in the possibility of the odd? And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, do you believe in me? And the guy's like, yeah. And then he's like, he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the angel is like, put your right hand into your left hand breeches pocket,
That's
and
so specific.
in token of your full submission unto the angel of the odd. And then the guy's like, but I can't do this. I don't have any pants.
And also, his left arm was broken.
Yeah, his left arm is broken and he has no pants. And he tries, and he shakes his head at the angel because he, like, can't talk for some reason. So he's like, I can't do this. I don't have any pants and my arm is broken. And then the angel is like, I can't do this. I don't have any pants and my arm is broken. And then the angel is like, then perish. And, it cuts the rope.
I hate you both.
The guy's like, hello?
Shut up.
And the angel is like, then perish.
Also, this word tuffle keeps showing up, and I don't know what it is, so I need to look it up.
Yeah. Is that
Go to
like
the
not
toy-
misspelled? Is it just an old word?
But why would they not highlight it on the site? Why would they just assume that I know
Wilhelm
this?
Siegmund Teufel was born at Ludwigsburg in the kingdom of...
Yes. You say his middle name was Seaman.
Stop.
No. Siegmund.
Okay, that's better.
Is it a guitar? That's all I'm finding.
So he was a German classical scholar. That's probably exactly what that's referring to. So go to the German classical scholar then, roared the angel of the odd. Go to the German classical scholar then, roared the angel of the odd.
So anyway, then he, like, cuts the rope that the narrator is, like, flying from, which was suspended over his house, so he ends up, like, tumbling straight down his own chimney.
Also, like, earlier they were over the ocean, and now they're over his house. They're over his house. And so precisely over his house, and he goes tumbling down the chimney.
This is like an early 2000s music video.
Stop.
What?
Which one?
This, just like this scene of, oh, I'm in definitely early 2000s music video right there.
Uh-huh. And can you give me a taste of what that song would be?
It doesn't matter who you are, as long as I tumble down my chimney.
Good. I
Great.
love that.
Fabulous.
And then he falls, like, into his house, breaking his house again. That was, like, apparently they just fixed. And now it's broken, but he's, like, still alive. And he's got
No,
some
he didn't break his house. He tumbles down the chimney, which had been rebuilt in the last, like,
Oh, okay.
day. Like, how did they rebuild his house so quick? And then, he, breaks his table. Like, he, like, so quick. And then, he, breaks his table. Like, he, like, messes up all of his living room and, like, breaks his table. And then there's, like, amid the fragments of a miscellaneous dessert intermingled with a newspaper, some broken glass and shattered bottles, and an empty jug of the Kirschenwasser. Thus revenged himself the angel of the odd. And this is the end of the story.
Yeah.
That was unsatisfactory.
It was pretty unsatisfactory. I'm trying to decide if this is like, and it was a dream the whole time.
Well, this was like a comedy-ish thing.
It was
Pretty comical.
Succeeded in that. I like how the entire story would be the equivalent of, like, if this happened today, it'd be someone going online, reading a story, commenting, oh yeah, and then everybody in the room clapped, haha, that totally happened. Everybody in the room clapped, haha, that totally happened. And then, like, some asshole made of beer bottles just harassed him.
This story is true. I was the beer bottle.
I was the crow.
That was great. Do we still have to read the other story? Okay, I didn't read all of it.
That's fine.
So I started reading it, and the first 2 paragraphs can be summarized as the beginning of any creepypasta on Reddit that's like, I'm not mad. This really happened. I'm not crazy. I'm a, like, atheist. Usually I like...
Tell a story. It's gonna get fucking wild. And I'm like, tell the fucking story. I know you're gonna tell a story. This is what I came here for. And this isn't the only thing that Edgar Allan Poe opened that with. I think he did that for Telltale Heart, where he's like, I'm gonna tell you a story.
And then he takes 18 years to actually tell you the story.
Like, I'm gonna tell you a story.
And then he takes 18 years to actually tell you the story. So yeah, for an official summary of The Black Cat, this one was published by Poe in 1845. So, you know, Poe was going through some stuff during these 2 years, because this story is also
When is he not going through some stuff?
This story's Poe in 1845. So, Poe was going through some stuff during these 2 years, because this story is also
When is he not going through some stuff?
This story is just very alcohol-influenced as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, this story is about a man who owns a cat, and then some stuff happens, and then the cat's...
I am a logical man.
I believe in the science.
I believe in science. And I cannot explain these events, even though I am a science man, atheist.
Right.
The science guy. Sorry, Bill Nye. This you don't deserve to be compared in any way to this man.
Bill Nye should sue us, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna get sued by Bill Nye, and it would be well deserved.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm an atheist, but, and then he's like, I like pets, so I decided to get a cat.
Okay.
Pets, so I decided to get a cat.
Okay, after the buildup of the first paragraph where he's like, I'm gonna tell this wild story, he's like, from my infancy. Like, okay, like, I really need to hear about the things that happened when you're 2.
Oh no, he meant when he was really a whole baby. Like a real
whole
baby. Like a real
whole
baby. An entire baby.
He's just like, I really like animals. When I was a kid, we had birds, goldfish, a fine dog. Only the dog's fine. Rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. So basically,
and a
like,
monkey.
Kind of the same animals that chased Mina down. Kind of the same animals that chased Mina down.
It's the same
Hey
ones.
guys. Hey kids, I want to tell you guys a story. This is really wild. This just happened to me. I really want to tell you guys this story about what just happened to me. Can I tell a story?
Yes.
So it all started when I was a baby. Can I tell a story?
Yes.
So it all started when I was a baby.
So yeah, he basically says when he was a baby, he was noted for his docility and humanity. I would hope he was noted for his humanity, but...
Yeah. So nice, people made fun of me.
So yeah, he basically had a fondness for animals, and this is considered weird in 1845 that he likes to pet his pet. He pets his dog on the head, and everybody's like, yeah, that guy right there, he's a little odd. But he's docile, so it's fine.
Yeah, he marries a wife that also likes pets, and then they get, it's in italics, so you have to read it like, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat.
Right, so owing to the title of this story, you can guess what color the cat is.
Gray? Tortoiseshell?
He has a whole paragraph talking about superstitions, and then he's like, oh, I actually shouldn't have mentioned that. It's not really relevant, but I just, remembered it right now.
Right. His wife is just like, I think the cat is a witch in disguise, but I don't really believe in that. She was just playing, right?
And he's like, I mentioned the matter for no better reason than that it happens just now to be remembered. Like, don't say it. You didn't have to write it. You didn't have to say it.
So yeah, the cat's name is Pluto, and he's basically the narrator's best bud, and also follows him down the road.
No, creepy foreshadowing with the name. No, creepy foreshadowing with the name at all, right?
No one here has read any.
The Roman god of the
is
actor,
the foreshadowing is the foreshadowing that soon the cat is not going to be classified as a planet anymore?
Shut up, Ivy. Shut up, Ivy. I hate you. So basically, him and the cat are homeboys for a lot of years, and during this time, the narrator grows more highlighted vocabulary word, intemperate, which means a general lack of moderation, but in 1845, it actually means that he used to like to get messed up off that drink. Oh yeah, he starts being mean to his wife, and Pluto.
But not to his pets.
Oh yeah, but I like that he feels worse about being mean to Pluto, the cat, than he does about his wife.
Yeah, fuck.
He's actually more, regretful about being mean to the cat than, beating his wife.
Yeah, he's like, I'll beat my wife, but the cat, that's a step too far.
So yeah, anyway, he came home, like, all kinds of drunk one night, and he thinks that the cat is avoiding him, so he grabs the cat, so that's supposed to be important. I don't know. And then he feels his soul leave his body.
You stupid cat, why would you avoid me? I say as I stab out your fucking eye. What?
Yeah, so then he grabs the cat and cuts out one of its eyes. So anyway, he goes to sleep that night, wakes up, feels bad as he motherfucking should. Wakes up, feels bad as he motherfucking should. And proceeds to, get messed up again. Drink some more vodka.
Well, he wakes up and the cat seems to feel no more pain over his eye.
I was surprised the cat survived.
And then he's like, oh, the cat's fine. Time to get drunk again.
Yeah, really.
Time to get drunk again.
Yeah, really. He's like, oh man, that was really a turning point. I really did some really horrible shit. Time to get drunk again.
Let's go.
And then, okay, in yours, is perverseness like in all caps randomly?
No. Oh, yes, it is, actually. And then came, as if to my final spirit of perverseness.
Perverseness. Oh my god, but it's not a vocabulary word, though. So anyway, at first, the cat fleeing from him in terror. This is after he cut out the cat's eye, with no anesthesia. Anyway, at first, that gets him sad, but instead of getting glad, he gets mad and makes up a noose and strings the cat up.
What?
So yeah, he hangs the cat, and this one finally kills
the cat, but he's sorry about it while he does it.
So don't do it.
Maybe you should have done
it. And with
it.
the bitterness remorse at my heart, hung it because I knew that it had loved me. This remorse at my heart, hung it because I knew that it had loved me.
I also like where he's like, who has not 100 times found himself committing a vile or silly action for no other reason than because he knows he should not. And it's like, that's for something like a sign that says do not touch. That's not for murdering a...
Why he couldn't just let the cat go.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
When you hate your cat, you can't just take it to the shelter. You just have to cut out its eye and hang it from a tree.
Yeah. It's relatable.
Oh God, no, it's not. Hey kids, don't murder cats.
Don't do it. Please don't.
Anyway, so later that night after he kills the cat, he wakes up and the curtains of his bed are on fire. So you just know the cat's coming back to fuck his shit up.
That's kind of similar to a story I just recently read,
He just had no wig, and then, he, bent down to the cat, and the cat was
were there any hogs? He comes back in the house, and people are, crowding around part of a wall, and everyone's yelling, strange, singular, which is a great thing to yell. Singular.
Singular. That's totally wicked, bro.
So yeah, basically it's like a wall that's all white, it didn't get damaged by the soot of the fire.
And there's a big picture of a cat on it.
Cat with a rope around its neck.
Ooh.
Yep.
A Winkadinka.
And it's spooky.
A rope around its neck.
Ooh.
Yep.
A Winkadinka.
And it's spooky.
And then he's there's this whole paragraph of reasoning and he's like, oh, someone probably ran in to my yard when he saw the house was on fire, saw this cat, was like, I will use this to throw this in the house and waken these people so they can get out. If I saw that, I'd be like, fuck no, they can burn. I don't know what's happening in this house, but I'm leaving it alone.
Why would you throw a cat in the house to wake him up instead of just, knocking at the door?
My being thrown in the window.
That's what we do in New York.
That's what we do in New York. Just cats. I wake up and it's meow! And I'm like, oh no, a fire!
That's the promotion for the Broadway revival of Cats.
Shut up, Jazz!
The Broadway revival of Cats.
Shut up, Jazz! Anyway, so he keeps feeling haunted and tries to find another cat. So one night he goes to the bar and sees a big black cat that looks just like Pluto, except he has a big white spot over his boobage. So anyways, he pets the cat and the cat likes him. And he takes the cat. His wife loves the cat and it becomes their cat.
Yeah, the wife is, like, real happy that he brings home this cat, which is, like, if I were the wife, I'd be like, oh, fuck no, you're not doing that to another cat.
I don't think she knows.
How would she not know? I mean, the cat, like, didn't have an eye for it.
Cat got into an accident because the cat did used to go outside with him.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
That's true. Maybe she just, like, wasn't paying attention. She was too busy, what did women do in those days? Edgar Allan Poe's days?
The laundry.
She was too
God,
busy,
Knitting.
she was too
God, that's
busy,
bad.
Knitting and falling asleep.
Knitting.
doing embroidery, and,
She was using one of those spinny clothes dryers that squeezes the water out.
Shut up.
squeezes the water out.
So yeah, of course, since this narrator is the worst. The worst. He slowly begins to feel disgust for this new cat with a capital D.
Why'd he get another cat?
Who knows? He's very not self-aware during the story.
He's just like, I really, really want another cat, and then he's like, I want a cat.
Gets it. He discovers that it also had been deprived of one of its eyes.
Yeah, that took him a day.
It doesn't say that he, killed it, or that he took the eye out himself. It's just like, and then it didn't have an eye.
I think he didn't notice. Like, he was just, like, so drunk when he first stole the cat.
But no, you bring a whole animal home and you don't know it doesn't have, like, a whole eye?
This narrator is so reliable. I love how reliable he is.
Just like all of Poe's narrators.
So yeah, the more he dislikes this cat, the more it likes him, and it covers him with loathsome caresses. Same. And it covers him with loathsome caresses. Same.
I wish my cat would be that nice.
So anyway, it's revealed that the narrator is telling us all the story from jail. They mention that real fast. Like, they don't foreshadow it. He's telling us the story from a jail cell. And they don't foreshadow that at all. They're rapping. They just keep going like they didn't just say that. And I'm just like, what is he in jail for?
What do you think he's in jail for?
I am almost ashamed to own, yes, even in this felon's cell, I am almost ashamed to own it. Because he's just like, and by the way, even in this prison cell, continue with my story.
By the way, I mean,
it real fast. He notices that the white splotch on the cat begins to take the shape of the gallows, foreshadowing.
or like post-shadowing, like after the fact shadowing. Like,
Like, he just told us he's in jail. And jail during the 1800s only did one thing to you. Like, jail during the 1800s only did one thing to you. Like, so, you kind of already told us what your fate is.
The 1800s, are you sure they didn't have like a 12-step recovery plan?
12.
They had probation back then, you could just do a little community service. So yeah, the cat keeps bothering him. And he has nightmares at night, and he keeps being mean to his wife. And so one day she goes down with him to the cellar. And I'd like to just side note here by saying, if our boy Fortunato taught us nothing,
Yeah.
it is that we do not
The
go
rest
down.
will be pasted from Cask of Amontillado.
I feel like if I started to read more of Poe's stories, they would all just have the same things in them, like houses on fire,
House is on fire.
unreliable narrators
Let's
who
go
take
down
people
to the
into the
cellar.
cellars, like a lot of alcohol misuse.
Just do not go down to the cellar with people who do not like you. If your husband is beating you, just don't go down to the cellar with him, because he clearly don't like you that much, and something bad is going to happen. So yeah, if you go down to the cellar with someone who you do not like, you might get bricked up, or you might get broken up. You might get bricked up, or you might get broken up.
They go down to the cellar, and he's overcome with hatred for the cat, so he picks up an axe, and he tries to kill the cat, but then
The wife is like, hey, don't do that.
the wife stops him, and he's like, "Gah!" And then he kills his wife
With said axe.
with said axe. And then he's like, "This hideous murder accomplished, I set myself forthwith."
The language.
And then he's like, oh man, I wonder where I'm gonna hide this body. Oh, I see some bricks, a brick wall. Man, if only I'd similar to this one. Wait, hold on. Quick. Look up the year Cask of Amontillado.
Research
Is it
hour.
Amontillado or is it Amontillado?
Amontillado.
It's Amontillado, but...
Amontillado.
European people are going to be offended by this episode and all of European people are going to be offended by this episode and all of our bad accents.
I should hope so. 1846!
Oh,
Black
crap.
Cat came out first! I can't believe he ripped off his own work with just, like, less stuff happening.
So and then the cat doesn't... Oh, yeah, the cat, like, beat feet, apparently. So, yeah, he waits a couple of days, the cat doesn't come back, so he's, like, really happy. Like, joyous. Like, he writes a whole paragraph about how happy he is about this.
I'm walking on sunshine. Wow.
I killed my wife, and the cat's gone.
Up and search his house, and they can't really find anything. So then he just all of a sudden gets like mouth diarrhea and starts like running out.
Yeah,
about how
he literally is. I mean, to paraphrase, he's just like, "Oh, you didn't find anything? Hell yeah, that's good. Find anything? Hell yeah, that's good. Also, I gotta say, this house has some nice fucking walls, nice brick. That brick looks like it could have been laid like about 4 days ago, like the same amount of days ago that my wife has been dead for." Like, that's how bad what he says is.
He just goes on and on for like two paragraphs about how sturdy the walls in this house are. And it's just like, sir, what are you doing?
He knocks on the wall, and then, like, the telltale cat, meows.
Poe rips himself off like 18 different times in the story.
Where he's talking about the walls. Like, what happens here? Like, they're in the cellar? Because he's like, I may say an excellently well-constructed house. These walls, are you going, gentlemen? These walls are solidly put together. And then he raps with a cane upon that very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of the wife of my bosom.
Of my bosom.
He's so bad.
Oh, and then there's like, he thinks that he hears the cry of his wife or something, or like a howl or something.
Oh, it's an inhuman shriek, if you will.
Yeah, well,
it's an inhuman shriek, if you will.
Yeah, well, first it's like a cry of a child, and then it swells into an inhuman shriek. And then, he's like freaking out. And then there's like an instant where the, policemen are like motionless, and then
yeah, it's like Audible.
Like, Audible.com.
And then they like knock down the wall.
They don't even knock it down. They just literally just says like they feel at it and the bricks just crumble. It's just like, ooh, that sturdy craftsmanship.
A dozen stout arms were toiling at the wall, so I assumed that meant that they were like trying to break it down.
No, but also it fell pretty quick after he's all, well-constructed walls, great fucking walls. I did such a good job breaking up this wall.
And it's just like, they just all fall down when a couple of hands paw at them.
I feel like this guy was in such a sturdy state of mind that he definitely did a great job breaking up this wall. Yeah, so anyway, they like break the wall down after the shriek comes out behind it, and he's like, whoa! And then there's, the cat is back there. He had walled the monster up within the tomb. Whoa!
Yeah, so the wife's dead body falls out, and the cat's body is also on top of her head, and the cat's eye is open, and the mouth is stretched wide.
Eye.
Well, no, the corpse is still standing there. It's just standing there, and then there's a cat on its head, and it has a red extended mouth and a solitary eye of fire. And he's gonna die, but...
I mean, the cat didn't confine you to the hangman. You could have just not murdered your wife.
Killed. Don't murder.
Yeah, hey kids.
Don't murder.
Don't do crimes.
Do some crimes, but don't do crimes like killing your cat or...
Do drugs, though.
Yeah, get the tingles from the drugs.
Get tingles at Babushka's Bakery.
We're gonna keep bringing up Unenchanted.
Today's episode is sponsored by Babushka's Bakery.
And Kirsten
Get
Schwasher.
30% off your first order of bread items,
Oompa
and
Loompas.
chocolate
Oompa Loompas.
by using the code BookSnub at checkout. That's BookSnub, one word. I hope you enjoyed our spooky Halloween episode.
Good God, I'm cutting that.
You can't.
I hope you enjoy. I'll just do it again in case Jazz cuts that last one out. I hope you enjoyed our spooky Halloween episode.
We need like some organ music.
This
That
has
one
been
won't get cut, apparently.
spooky.
If you keep saying it, it just can't get cut.
Yeah, that's how that works. You should just like overlay all of them together.
No.
Hey kids, this has been BookSnub. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This has been BookSnub. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't harass any authors, including Edgar Allan Poe.
Please harass Edgar Allan Poe. Just pour one out over his grave.
You can follow us on Twitter at BookSnub. You can find us on Tumblr, BookSnub. We're on BookSnub. iTunes. Make sure to rate and review. I don't know if that helps, but that's what everybody else always says. So,
feel free to suggest
and send
more
us some
books
suggestions
at booksnub@gmail.com. You see,
Oh yeah, BookSnub.
we really got to these names. We had to
Yeah.
do like booksnub 7384
Yeah, it's all BookSnub.
all the time.
So send us some suggestions. We're not gonna do Twilight. We're not gonna do 50 Shades of Grey. We're not gonna do My Immortal. Yeah, so that's all, folks. Kids,
That's
friends,
all.
pals, kids. I've been Clara, Ivy, whoever.
I've been Rachel.
And I'm
Jazz.
still Sweet Potato.